Hi there, we're glad you're with us for this Thursday edition of CNN Student News. I'm Monica Lloyd. A severe storm. Cyclones don't show up in the Middle East very often, but a powerful one is roaring through the region right now. A drought discovery. Dry conditions in Florida lower a lake's level and uncover artifacts that might be thousands of years old. And an extraordinary athlete. A 5-year-old is getting a lot of attention in the golf world, but his game is only half of his incredible story. First up today, a major storm is causing some problems for parts of the Middle East. Now here's a quick quiz for you. What season are we in right now? Summer doesn't officially start for a couple weeks, so spring is a pretty good answer. So is hurricane season. The tropical storms are called cyclones in some parts of the world, and Michael Holmes explains how a big one is affecting the Persian Gulf right now.
Pounding waves, uprooted trees, flood warnings and evacuations. The wrath of Cyclone Gonu in the Gulf region, one of the strongest ever recorded in the area. The damage done and what could still happen affects more than trees and buildings though. The region is of course a major shipping and oil supply centre. Already oil prices have gone up because of the disruption caused and the disruption that may still occur as Gonu heads towards Iran. In Oman, tens of thousands of people were evacuated, electricity was cut, and the major port of Sohar was closed down, as were airports. Oil refineries remained operational but at reduced output as winds in the capital Muscat topped 100 kilometres an hour, about 62 miles an hour. To the northeast, at the world's third largest shipping fuel centre, the UAE port of Fujairah, all refuelling and supply operations were halted. At one point on Tuesday, Gonu was listed as a Category 5 cyclone, the highest level. It was later downgraded, but still packs a punch as it heads towards the Strait of Hormuz, the world's major transport artery for Persian Gulf oil. Oil prices spiked on fears that the cyclone could disrupt oil supply from Iran, although weather forecasters say Gonu should weaken before arriving there. Still, there are reports Iranian authorities evacuated several hundred people from coastal areas as a precaution. Michael Holmes, CNN, Atlanta.
Time for the shout out. How do you spell Okeechobee? If you think you know it, shout it out. Is it A, B, C, or D? You've got 3 seconds, go! The answer is D, with 4 E's if you please. The Okeechobee is a lake in Florida. That's your answer and that's your shout out.
All right, now you know how to spell it, but there's not as much of Lake Okeechobee to see these days. That's because it's at record low levels thanks to a statewide drought. That would usually be pretty bad, but it turns out it was hiding a lot of cool stuff. Jim Abbott of WPBF tells us what turned up when the waters went down.
The foreshadowing started in March when archaeologists found fragmented human remains on the exposed bottom of Lake Okeechobee. As more and more ground appeared, they found much more.
I mean, we're talking thousands of years of history here. So, I mean, it's very, very significant.
It's amazing. It's something I've never experienced. I've seen small stuff, but never nothing to this magnitude.
Boots Boyer and Palm Beach County archaeologist Christian Davenport and his team have found 17 new archaeological sites that have never been seen before, all sitting up from the muck, some with pottery dating back perhaps 2,000 years, others to the early 1900s.
This is a McCormick spice bottle from Baltimore. You think today, you know, going back, I mean, this would have to get on a train in Baltimore, come down, be shipped out to a store, and somebody would have to buy it. I mean, a lot of hands touch this bottle to get it to this location.
Lately, Davenport and Boyer have had to trek several miles through the muck to re-find the new finds.
There's gators everywhere and cottonmouths and, you know, bugs, and it's not always that pleasant, but every once in a while you come across one of these sites and it all becomes worth it.
But difficulty hasn't stopped looters from getting in on the act. First, it was the history buffs.
I think now we've got another class in there. The ones that out there yesterday, they were from North Florida somewhere, I think the Panhandle, and that's what they're trying to stop is you know, people that are experienced in this looting.
Chapter 4 of our video yearbook, Nuclear Proliferation, or the Increasing Number of Nuclear Weapons. We're spotlighting two countries today, North Korea and Iran. Mr. Nikovic at Thompson Brook School in Avon, Connecticut listed North Korea's nuclear testing as one of his class's picks for most important news events. Despite last summer's UN resolution demanding that North Korea stop its nuclear weapons program, the Asian country announced a successful underground nuclear test in October. Within days, the UN responded by restricting military and luxury goods trade with North Korea. But on February 13th, Pyongyang agreed to shut down its main nuclear reactor in exchange for a $400 million aid package. Talks between North Korea and 5 other countries, including the U.S., are ongoing. Meanwhile, Iran pushed ahead with its own nuclear program. Throughout the academic year, the Middle Eastern nation defied international demands to stop developing nuclear technology and persisted despite UN sanctions that were leveled in December. Those sanctions were toughened in March, and on May 23rd, the International Atomic Energy Agency reported that Iran had actually expanded its nuclear program. International officials are concerned the country is trying to build nuclear weapons, but Iran has repeatedly insisted that its program is for peaceful purposes, specifically generating electric power. Reporting for your video yearbook, I'm Carl Azus.
President Bush says a missile defense shield can protect against nuclear weapons, but plans for one are raising tensions between the U.S. and Russia, right as their leaders are about to meet. Mr. Bush, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and other world leaders are at the annual G8 summit in Germany at this moment. Climate change and poverty in Africa are at the top of the conference agenda. But the friction between Russia and the U.S. might overshadow the event. Suzanne Malveaux has more.
President Bush to Russia's leader, Vladimir Putin.
The Cold War's over. It ended.
The message for Putin, back off, take it easy.
As I've told President Putin, Russia's not our enemy.
President Bush's comments come after days of heated rhetoric between U.S. and Russian officials. The culmination, Putin's threat to aim Russia's missiles at U.S. military installations and European allies. The fight is over President Bush's plan to build a missile defense system in Russia's backyard, Eastern Europe. Putin considers it a threat, but Mr. Bush is trying to convince him otherwise.
It's a purely defensive measure, aimed not at Russia, but at true threats. My message will be, Vladimir, I call him Vladimir, that you shouldn't fear a missile defense system.
And the president offered the Russians a front row seat.
Please send your generals over to see how such a system would work. Send your scientists. Let us have the ability to discuss this issue in an open forum where we'll be completely transparent.
To get the system up and running, Mr. Bush needs Russia's neighbors to cooperate. One of them is the Czech Republic, where the president wants to set up a radar, a key component of his missile defense system. That drew praise from the Czech president, but protests on the street.
President Bush and Putin's standing among world leaders will be tested at the G8 as both vie for support over apparently competing agendas. Thursday, the two leaders will meet to confront that. Suzanne Malveaux, CNN, Prague, Czech Republic.
Canada, Japan, France, Italy, all their leaders are currently at the G8 summit in Germany. But can you pick out their home countries? Test your geography genius with our downloadable maps. You can check them out at cnn.com/education. Before we go, we want you to check out an incredible young athlete. People say 5-year-old Kyle is a prodigy and a better golfer than kids 3 times his age. He's been featured in magazines and even gotten a personal letter from Tiger Woods. But it's not just his game that's getting attention. It's that he's so good and he only has one eye. Kyle was diagnosed with a rare form of eye cancer when he was 2 years old and had to have his left eye removed to save his life. But he's been cancer-free for more than 2 years, and his dad says that for Kyle, it's all about the game.
The way he carries himself, I mean, he doesn't realize the magnitude of what's going on. You know, being in the newspaper, being in magazines, he just likes to play golf.
And that's the last swing for today's show. We'll see you back here tomorrow for more CNN Student News. Thanks for watching. I'm Monica Lloyd.